Hello, this is History Shorts with the Artifactual Scholar. Today, I'll be talking about the United States and Cuba. The relationship between the United States and Cuba has a long, often tumultuous history. Since 1961, that relationship has been the victim of political ideology and Cold War maneuvering that is just now beginning to come to an end. However, the story of American involvement on the island stretches back to the 19th century. During the 1890s, the Cuban people revolted against Spanish rule, and Spain attempted to hold on to its colonial possession. The struggle that emerged was filled with unspeakable violence and brutality. The Spanish established concentration camps to contain Cuban revolutionaries and their families, and many Cubans suffered from famine and disease. The social and political situation was followed closely in the U.S. Many American companies were heavily invested on the island, and there was great concern that a revolution in Cuba would impact the American economy. In addition, tales of Spanish atrocities turned the American public strongly in favor of the Cubans. In response to political pressure, and with the permission of the Spanish, President William McKinley dispatched a battleship, the USS Maine, to Havana Harbor as a way of calming the fears of Americans in Cuba. On the night of February 15, 1898, the Maine mysteriously exploded in the harbor, killing more than 250 American sailors. Public opinion in the U.S. quickly pinned the blame for the loss of the Maine on the Spanish, and by April, President McKinley had congressional permission to blockade Cuba. Soon after, Spain declared war on the U.S., and the U.S. reciprocated. Before Congress declared war, however, an amendment was added to the declaration. Known as the Teller Amendment, after Senator Henry Teller of Colorado, the resolution stated that Cuba would be a free and independent nation, and that the U.S. would not try to annex or control the island once the Spanish were evicted. The ensuing war with Spain was brief, lasting only 10 weeks, yet the effects of it were staggering. The U.S. acquired possessions of former Spanish colonies around the globe, from the Philippines and Guam in the Pacific to Puerto Rico in the Caribbean. Just as importantly, Cuba was freed from Spanish domination. By the terms of the Teller Amendment, Cuba was to be an independent state, and soon the U.S. began withdrawing troops from the island. Yet conditions were set that would prevent the Cubans from true political freedom. In 1901, Senator Orville Platt from Connecticut added an amendment to a military appropriations bill in Congress. The Platt Amendment contained provisions that would prevent the Cubans from entering into certain international relations with foreign powers, and it gave the U.S. the right to intervene in Cuban affairs to defend the nation's independence. The U.S. was also granted concessions to lease Cuban territory for the establishment of naval bases. In essence, the Platt Amendment prevented Cuba from acting as an independent state without the tacit approval of the U.S. The Cuban government was coerced into accepting the Platt Amendment, and it defined U.S.-Cuban relations until 1934. This has been History Shorts. Thanks for watching.